and here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, roll, planet.
Water towers, fly! Yes! Tango down to nominal.
Fighting downside, FD off. Bring in, FD off. Off. It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
Look at this!
Put that in the big bag,
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Hello and welcome to Starbase, Texas, where SpaceX is getting ready to once again attempt engine testing with Starship 38 here on this rather MacGyvered setup on Pad 1's launch mount. You can see that venting from the bottom of the mount there. That is lovingly referred to as the OLM vent. It is active, so we have gone live, and we'll talk about why we do that and what that is and everything we expect to see today here shortly. I'm Jack Beyer, I'll be your host, but also we're like seconds away from a launch out of Vandenberg. Also, we're joined by Alex. Alex, what launch is this out of Vandenberg? I think we're ready to show it. I hope we're ready to show it. It's close.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We're just seconds away from launching, but yeah, it's NRL 48 from Vandenberg.
So that's why you don't know what it is, because it's a secret payload? Liftoff? Yes, it's foggy, but look at that. That is gorgeous.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
MOD chamber pressures are nominal.
At T plus 30 seconds and counting, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Vandenberg Space Force Base. And in just a few seconds, we'll throttle the engines down in preparation for max Q, a period of
Absolutely beautiful launch. Yeah, it was foggy on the ground. It was foggy for like 5 seconds. Look how beautiful this is. As you heard a second ago, the vehicle will now be going through max Q. That's the point where it's going the fastest while the atmosphere is the thickest. Remember that it's going to be ascending through the atmosphere and getting thinner and thinner as it goes. Whoa, what happened to that poor camera? Sudden pan right. So yeah, they have to throttle down while they go through that maximum pressure region, and then they can throttle back up. Another one. Sudden tilt down. It's hard. Tracking rockets is hard. It is genuinely a challenging task. Oh man. Western Range. Cameras, come on guys. Now this is nice. Look at how expanded the plume is. You can Alex, am I imagining it, or can you see Falcon 9 like really dog-legging or like just... It's an interesting angle.
Well, it's also going sun-synchronous. Not sun-synchronous, excuse me. This is not Starlink. Sorry. Yeah, this is Starship. It's going sort of polar orbits, roughly 80 degrees, I think it is for this one. But yeah, and this one, there we go, Miko. Watch out for the flip of the first stage because he's returning back to land.
This view is fantastic. Now this
There's
is how
a
you
flip.
track. Gorgeous. For a stage like see ya. Never gets old. Second stage also kind of like see ya. Absolutely beautiful. You can see the first stage at the top of the screen. Meanwhile, second stage, continuing on to cook. I'm just gonna say it again, you know? Like, really beautiful views on this launch. Vandenberg gets a lot of shade for the fog.
Yeah, that's pretty much what fog does. A lot of shade.
Oh, hi Alex. Hi. Are you joining the stream?
I've been here.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time. Also, I know that chat is here, and chat probably joined for Ship 38. We are going to talk about Ship 38. We have a little bit of ways to go before action really picks up in Starbase. So we're enjoying this Vandenberg launch in the meantime. And if you have any questions, you can at NSF or at NASASpaceflight in chat. Both of them work with your questions, and we'll see them and we'll answer them because that's what we like to do. Grid fins extending. Looks like there's some debris in between in the camera housing, like in between the camera lens and the external glass.
Yeah, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, Vandenberg boosters are like their cameras are very dirty. They always have some kind of thing floating around. I don't know why, but they should clean that up.
Yeah.
So whoever's in charge should do that.
Yeah, absolutely. This view is gorgeous. Look at that. Coming back to the best coast.
And now it's gonna come back through that fog layer.
Right? See, you know, anybody can launch a rocket from a flat, featureless landscape. To launch it from well, okay, not anybody.
By all intents and purposes, Vandenberg is very, very flat right now because you cannot see anything.
All right, that's
if you
fair.
cannot see the hills and everything, why would you care that it's got hills? You cannot see them.
You got me there, Alex. You got me there. Beautiful RCS.
Oh, there are
thruster
mountains,
puffs.
but I cannot see them.
You can sometimes.
I also look gorgeous in the morning when I wake up if I don't look myself in the mirror. Like, this is the same.
Philip Jacobs in chat says Vandenberg camera floaties are a tradition at this point. It's like we can't take them away. It's tradition. Alex, is it a drone ship or is it a
RTLS, return to launch
RTLS?
site landing.
Oh, heck yes, it's an
And
RTLS.
this one is probably the closest for Falcon 9 of a true return to launch site, because it's like 400 meters away from the launch site from where it launched from. On the previous one, RTLS that they did at Vandenberg, they in fact had the tracking camera. The transport director was photobombing the camera as it was coming back down. The booster was just behind the transport director, and then we can see the entry burn.
Yeah, it's one of the really special things about launches out of 4E at Vandenberg that are RTLS, because you can set up like a composite. You can set up a shot where you have liftoff and landing in the same frame. It's not like how it has been so far on the Space Coast, where the landing pads are further away, like miles away. Well, that's going to change. That's changing on the Space Coast. Do we have one of those as a print in the shop? Hang on. We should. God, that's gorgeous.
Coming in.
Coming in hot, literally. I still cannot wrap my head around the fact that this is real. There's landing burn.
Falcon 9 first stage. This is the final burn the booster will perform before landing.
And a sonic boom. Going through the clouds. And there we go.
Another successful landing.
Admit, it would be a lot more spectacular if there wasn't a lot of fog right now, because you could see the launch pad right behind it. Maybe not from this angle, but from angles that are possible. Absolutely fantastic, though. Falcon 9 back on the landing pad. What did you say, 400 meters from the launch site, Alex?
Yeah.
It's close.
It's really close.
They're gonna.
I think that's,
what they would.
that's a quarter
What they'll do
mile,
is
something like that.
they'll lift it up with a crane and then set it on that pedestal that you see on the right side, just outside the landing circle. They'll set it on the pedestal. They fold up the legs. They break the thing over, and then roll it into the HIF. I think maybe they might roll it somewhere else. Either way, it's like, much less of a process because it's right there next to the launch site. Well, that was a nice little appetizer to Ship 38 testing. Hooray! Hopefully we get to see more fire today in the form of some engine testing with Ship 38. But we have also another special treat in addition to that little Falcon 9 treat. We also have Chris Bergen, founder of NSF, the Bergenator Actual. How are you doing, Chris?
You're like a hype man, Jack, and nobody in real life goes, Chris is here, great news, everybody. It's kind of like, it's kind of surreal. All my, as you can imagine, Yorkshire friends are not as complimentary in introducing me in a certain scenario. So when I get a special treat for you all, I'm like, they can't be talking about me. What's going on? But yes, thank you, Jack, for taking the start of this, because I was busy bandicamming the Falcon 9 and Arianespace launch because I can't multitask. If I tried to do commentary and tried to do screen recording at the same time, I'd be clipping completely a mess, and the ex-posts showing the mission, which we've launched just now, would be a complete disaster. So thank you, Jack, for hosting the initial part of this. And I'm joining in the blind. I'm like people who join chat 10 minutes into a live stream. Alex, where are we with the countdown towards static fire?
Well, right now they are undergoing chill down of the propellant lines on the launch mount. There you can see that huge venting as usual. The two main propellant lines are cold and frosty, as like the whole purpose of that venting is precisely liberating some of that gaseous oxygen that escapes from the main liquid oxygen line there. Just cooling down all of that, making sure that it is ready for when they load propellant into the ship. So propellant load has not started yet, but it should begin in very short order. It's usually like a 40-minute process here, this oil and vent, and I believe it began roughly 15 minutes ago. So we should have propellant load like less than 20 minutes or so.
Exciting. I like that. But it is the third attempt. This is something we do need to project. I'm sure it's been done already, but I'm going to do it on my own behalf. This is the third attempt to static fire Ship 38 on Pad 1. The caveat is this is not the configuration they're used to. I mean, this is something where it's taking the place of Massey's because of what happened to Ship 36, obviously. So Pad 1 isn't really designed to do this, so we can have some allowances for the previous two attempts which have not gone to plan, as far as at least nothing blowing up, thank goodness, but just not completing a static fire test. The question I've got for you, Alex, is do you think that if they fire up today, it'll be one engine or 6 engines, and will they even do both of those tests?
Well, I gotta be honest, I'm not sure what the plan will be for today. The clues will be on the amount of propellant that they load. On Friday, when they tested when they were trying to do the second attempt at the static fire test, they loaded, or at least they seemed to were aiming to load completely the liquid oxygen tank. And when they do that, that is indicative that they are planning to do a 6-engine static fire test. Unfortunately, it never got to that point. Like, it was never even fully loaded. It was aborted a bit before that, but they were already well past the amount of propellant that you will see when they do, for example, a single-engine static fire test, where they load maybe like a couple of rings of the liquid oxygen tank, whereas for 6 engines they load completely the tank so that it weighs down the ship, and essentially help a little bit the fact that it doesn't fly off if you have a fully loaded ship. The methane tank does not get loaded completely though, because of safety and all that. You just load essentially what it needs for the test and no more than that. So that's what we should expect. Either one of those is what we should expect once propellant load starts. I'm looking at that oil and vent. Is it dying off, or is it just me? It's still not gone completely though.
Is it the wind?
That's what I was thinking too.
It's fairly windy today.
Huh.
What would that indicate, Alex? What boggles you on that one? Does it doesn't seem in the normal cycle of things. What could that point to?
No, it's just that if it were to shut down right now, then that would indicate that they were going into propellant load, right? So that's why I was sort of talking a little bit more different. But it just seems it's probably just the wind blowing it in another sort of more weird direction, I guess. We'll keep looking at it. It's still going, so no propellant load yet.
Great.
It's still going. It's still good. It's still good.
It's all good. No panics. I do like this view, by the way. It just shows how they've MacGyvered the orbital, the orbital HUD, where they've basically put a load of scaffolding, almost like lines and a structure with the pipes and the lines. Again, it doesn't matter. This was a great point brought out last time. Now, this is the last time they're using... Oh, that's going full belt now. Look at this. That really is venting now. I was waiting for the ooh from Alex. I was surprised I didn't get one.
That is a significant amount of venting.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that Alex didn't interrupt me. It's not
No,
a normal stream without Alex interrupting me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the all-in vent. I'd be more like that if it went off.
Oh.
if it's ongoing, it's okay. It's just the all-in vent, right? It's just ongoing. It's there, right? But if it went away, then that will be the moment where I get much more excited, because again, that indicates propellant load has begun, or at least under the right conditions in the majority of times, it's what it indicates. Sometimes it can also indicate that it's on a board, but
we don't. No A words. No, we're not mentioning the A word this time round. We want this one to static validar. Ironically, it wouldn't be terrible if this launch got delayed a little bit longer than we may think it might be for reasons. We're going to thank some people. Sorry,
you can't say it out loud, because then it won't happen. You have to just stoically hope it happens, but you can't say it out loud, because then the universe will spite you.
Or I could say, let's launch on October 3rd or the 4th and jinx it. That could be one way.
There you go. Now you're cooking.
There we go. Now we're thinking. Bit of housekeeping. I did a poll in chat because I asked a question that basically I think everyone can join in on, which is today's test. Will it be a single engine test? Will it be 6-engine test? Or will it be an abort? I do like the fact that abort is 12%, which is the lowest of the rankings. 6 engines is 72%, 71% now. 1 engine is just 17%. So everyone's hoping or expecting a 6-engine test today, which will be fun. We would like a 6-engine test because that'd be more dramatic than a single engine test. The main thing is it goes well.
Does that mean people think they'll skip a single engine? Or that the single engine would be tomorrow?
Is there a road closure for tomorrow, which would be indicative of a second test? There is. There we go.
Yeah, there's a backup opportunity tomorrow. So if they don't get this done today, they still have tomorrow in the cards as well.
Very good. Again, more observational data. We don't get an email from SpaceX every morning saying this is what we're going to do. We look out for what they're going to do, and we keep an eye on things. We've got all these cameras, and thanks to your support, we've got all these cameras. So I'm going to make sure I thank people who support us, starting with Captain Kirsch, who did a Red Team membership, a gifted a Red Team membership. Thank you, Captain. Jeff Roboat, because that's his full name, gifted a Red Team membership also. Crafty Geek did a tip, which is tips. I'm going to put it in the chat on multitask time. This is where I start messing up things because I can't do 2 things at once. I can't, Jack. I can't multitask.
Do you want me to read it? I can read it.
Well, I can read it now because I've just put it in. But that is a tips command. Basically, a way of doing it if you want to bypass all the other various routes and routine of support, which is still very much appreciated, don't get me wrong. That means everything comes to us. And Crafty Geek did that with a $10 tip saying, what sort of good public viewing options exist near Vandenberg? I live in the Bay Area, so Vandy would be a very much easier trip compared to Starbase of Florida. That's a question for Jack.
Oh man, you are in good shape. Crafty Geek, I don't know if you're on the Discord or if you're on X or whatever. My DMs are open. Message me. I have a much more detailed answer than I can give you right now live on air. But the short answers are, if it's not an RTLS, go to Surf Beach, because that is now open. You just need to get there an hour or two at least before launch, because once the parking lot is full, law enforcement will close off the road to Surf Beach, and then you're kind of just out of luck. But Surf Beach is extremely close to Slick 4. There are other options that are further away, although closer in some respects. You can be at Ocean and Renwick. That you have a view of some mountains at liftoff, but as soon as the rocket comes over the hills, you are extremely close to it. And for RTLS, since you can't be at Surf Beach, that's the next closest spot, and it's like the Falcon 9 is coming down on top of you. It's absolutely wild. Can't see it land for the last couple seconds, and can't see liftoff for the first couple of seconds, but that spot is also extremely close. And if you're trying to avoid the fog, Harris Grade is an old standby, because you get some elevation. You're about 11 miles away, you're further away, but you can see the pad, and you do have a chance of getting up above the marine layer. And then finally, Figueroa Mountain, even further away, but also even higher up. There's it's like a gradient. How worried are you about the fog on a given launch? But yeah, Surf Beach, in terms of closeness, would be my number one recommendation. There you go. That's the full rundown.
Now, if I had a soundboard, which I still don't have, I could do the oh my dials kind of noises, because Spaceport that's a terrible. I really is a bad impression of a monk choir. Spaceport, seriously this time, bless this test. There we go. So we got a blessing from Space Perp, and also 10 gifted Red Team memberships straight after from Space Perp. Space Perp is one of our biggest supporters, I guarantee you, but also one of our biggest supporters is North Antarctica. Chris is here, you know what that means. North Antarctica's got a thing about supporting streams that I'm on for some reason. I have no idea why. But
people
thank
like
you for your
Chris.
support. Well, I'm too Yorkshire to appreciate that. It seems weird. Astro 95 Media. That's Nathan Moller. Thank you. I'm giving your full name out, but you're on the internet, so that's fine. I'm sure you don't mind that. 6 engines, or I'll double my super chat if it's just one. Let's go. So thank you, Nathan. I've said the story many times. I'm going to say it again. Nathan and the Max Q guys, Max Q Entertainment it was back in the days, were the first people to provide us, NSF, with actual photographs taken for us and them at KSC of the shuttle launches. So it was mental, because we had Larry was in the VAB watching rollouts, and there's a rollout of a shuttle from the VAB under its spotlights, under these xenon lights, is incredible. I will bring some up for Shuttle Sundays to come, because they really are the most impressive rollouts. And you're probably thinking, oh, I've seen Super Heavy go down Highway 4, it's really impressive. Nothing beats a shuttle stack leaving the VAB high bay. It's so impressive, it really is. Right, moving quickly on. David McGurk, I mentioned shuttle by the way. David McGurk has become a pad rep member, welcome. Ninja Decimator, pew pew pew.
Pew pew pew.
Can they static fire in the wind, Jack?
Oh, they didn't deserve the pew 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 for that. Really? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably.
It'll be smooth sailing in the wind.
Oh, here we go. Sawyer's on. Hello, Sawyer. Welcome to the Supersonic Retro Propulsion. Let's go through some questions, because I do like to make it interactive, and that means lots of questions. And I like questions. We have lots of them. Supersonic Retro Propulsion, one of the best usernames in the chat, by the way. Will the new building pad at Slick 40 be closer than 400 meters? Alex, this kind of brings us into the flyover content that we've got coming, maybe.
Yeah, we do have, in fact, a flyover coming up soon, and you'll see there's already work underway to get that. I'm talking slowly because I'm opening Google Maps. It'll be slightly closer. It's like 370 meters, so it'll be slightly closer than the one at Vandenberg. Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Here comes all
kidding.
the West Coast people being like, it's the closest. I'm like, it's by 30 meters. By 30 meters.
By the way, all invent is gone.
Oh.
Yep.
Damn it.
So that means we are that means we are into propellant load. At least for the liquid oxygen, it does not seem that the methane side has started yet. mostly because the subcoolers are not going bunkies, as Jack will say. But, you know, as I said before, they only load a little bit of liquid methane, and so that means the timeline to load liquid methane might be a little bit later, because you don't need to load as much, so you can do it a little bit later as a treat.
Indeed. By the way, 6,500 people, and this is just a ship, and it's a lot of people. Not just because I'm thinking it's just a ship static fire, and people go, well, Chris, that's still quite interesting. Yeah, it is interesting, but I still find that a good positive point that even though we're now into Flight 11 preparations, the audience is still there. We had a big audience again for the launch of Flight 10. A lot of people were speculating, saying, well, by the time we get into like double figures, the interest may wane off a bit like the Falcon 9 and Starlinks, but even Starlinks get quite a lot of people still watching them. So that gives me hope that once we get into the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, there'll still be a big audience for this rocket. And that doesn't surprise me, because I think visually it's amazing. It is the world's largest, most powerful rocket ever built, let's face it. It's not really got any competitors in this range of power. So it is something where I also expect a bit of a peak up again when they start launching from 39A. I mean, Jack, we're talking about, I'm kind of trying to make a little segue to Slick 6, because that is our beloved pad for both of us, isn't it? Like, it was the pad that should have launched Space Shuttle for polar orbits. But if you can imagine a new pad scenario where Starship's launched from 39A, I think the interest will go up again, because it'll be the first launch from Florida. But do you think, I'm massively segueing here, do you think SpaceX, who have said nothing since the announcement about their plans for Slick 6, do you think there's going to be a Starship tower there?
Have they said nothing? I feel like there was one or two things.
There was
hasn't been much.
an entire environmental impact statement that they have been undergoing, so I wouldn't call it nothing. But
they haven't said anything regards to Starship at Slick 6.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That is the dream, right? That is the hope of many people, because it would be a pretty spectacular launch site. It's hard to say what the future holds. And to your point, Chris, I'm really glad that there's a lot of people interested in this test. This is a weird test. This might not ever happen again. It probably won't ever happen again. This is a very unique point in this program's history. We're kind of at the end of the beginning. I know that might seem redundant, but it's something I've been thinking about a lot lately. And being here at the end of the beginning, at the end of the usefulness of Pad 1 before they have to go out and revamp it, at the end of Block 2, it's hard to say what the future holds. Maybe Slick 6 does end up getting a Starship tower. I would certainly love a Starship tower on the West Coast. Starship fans from way back in the day will remember when they were going to build Starship out of carbon fiber in Long Beach.
Oh yeah, I remember that now. Wow, I completely forgot all about that.
Yeah, I remember the giant carbon fiber tank that they burst, and it failed under rated pressure. And they had before that they had the Dear Moon event with Yusaku Maezawa, like that. Like it's been a long road, and we're finally here at the end of the beginning, and that's really exciting. And if you thought that the exciting stuff was over, like once we start doing tanker ops, once we start doing actual payloads, once they start doing HLS and landing stuff on the moon, or trying to send stuff to Mars, or launching out of Florida, or wherever else they end up building launch pads. It's point to point. Please, pretty please. But yeah, I couldn't agree more, Chris. I hope our audience, if this is your first time watching a Starship test and you're not a seasoned, grizzled old tank watcher like the rest of us, welcome. There's a long and interesting road ahead of us.
Indeed. I also, while I was just reading out the support, there's more to come. Chris W, I'm going to hold yours back, because that's a bit of an announcement, isn't it, almost? But Matt's in Starbase Live before we even started his coverage of 50 gifted Red Sea memberships, so I definitely want to mention Matt's. Because Matt is another of our great supporters. We have people who are names I recognise immediately. It's kind of crazy that some regular people are just always supporting us, and it is very much appreciated. Don't get me wrong by that at all. Alex, I've got the easiest question in the world for you. Mark Tucker Cadman asks, will Starship become as regular as Falcon 9?
Eventually, that's the goal. Even more regular, right? That it's gonna be launching multiple times a day and everything, way further down into the future. The question is when in the future, right?
I think
so
on
we'll
Block
see what
3,
happens.
they're going to install a separate COPV that holds Mega Mucil. It's like a fiber supplement for Starship. It'll be much more regular after that.
Yeah, sure.
What has Sawyer done to us all?
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
I need to find a pun so I can make it a trifecta of puns. And Sawyer be like in the back room going, "I'm so proud of you all." I've got a question about the fact that they've held. Oh, sorry, go on, Alex. You've got a programming update, yes?
Yeah, because we're starting to see already frost here on the liquid oxygen tank. There you can see is a tiny little ring there already popping up on the liquid oxygen tank. Still no activity from the methane side, but anytime now. They still have quite a long time to get to the end of the countdown here.
Very good. I have a X-Post ready to go as soon as we start seeing some frost on a camera, which we can then tweet out and say propellant loading has begun. Although we know that's probably the case now already, but the actual frost on the vehicle is a nice little visual clip to put out next there. About the fact that they had their attempts last week and then didn't use the weekend for a third attempt, do we think... I'll come back to you, Alex, because I know you probably know the answer. Do you think that it was because they were doing some maintenance on the pad or vehicle because of the aborts, or because they've used up all their weekend closures? That's about 3 questions from people, so I'm answering on their behalf here. Simon S and Jonah M about the weekend closures. Have they used them all up yet?
Well, in theory, yes. But they also did the Booster 15 static fire test on a Sunday. So they used up a weekend closure for that. So I don't know exactly why they decided to use it for the booster, but not for the ship. I'm guessing they also had other priorities. They probably worked on things around the pad and things like that. They were also working on pad 2 as well. So they probably had some other priorities maybe, and they didn't, they just decided to not go ahead and use up any more weekend closures, even beyond the ones that they have already used up, because they have like 5 a year, and those were used well before Booster 15's static fire test. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Very good. We just saw a view there, full screen from Ranch. I'm going to do Ranch Command in chat because they are amazing people who provide us one extra view there, which gives us the first views of the frost, by the way. So fair play. There we go. There's Rocket Ranch Outpost camera. That's where you're located right now, isn't it, Jack?
Yeah, several extra views. So this is my camera that I've set up with a polarizer. That's why it looks kind of wonky fun. But that way we can see the frost really clearly as they load propellant onto the vehicle. So this is my feed, but we also have a couple cameras hosted on their tower here at the outpost. So really huge thanks to them. I'm sitting in a nice little air-conditioned office space on top of a container. It's just like, I feel like king of the roost. It is really like, it's quite nice. So the ranch is a really amazing place, and they do offer viewing from the outpost. So check them out. They're really great people, and it's a great way to watch the launch alongside basically, super fans, people that want to be the closest you can possibly be, that know every minute detail, and you're taken care of by Anthony and the fine folks at the ranch. This is, to answer Eric in chat, this is 500mm on a Canon R5 with digital IS on, which I think does add a little bit of a crop, but it's not enhanced, so it's not like the full, I think, 1.6 that adds. But yeah, that's about 500mm. This is a separate camera. This is one of the tower hosted cameras that's higher up. You can see it's got a little bit more view of the mud flats there. But yeah, even just 500mm on a full frame camera is plenty if you're wanting to get some shots from the ranch. Anyways, thanks again to them. I would be remiss if I did not personally give my love to the fine people at Rocket Ranch.
Yeah, I was going to say 500mm sounds about right, Jack.
Yeah, you can go a full 1,000. Chris, I've done 2400 with like a 2 point something crop from the ranch. I forget. I think that was 6, maybe. It was absurd. You can go more. Really, you could probably shoot 100 millimeter. I think I have a composite as a print on the shop that was shot at 100 millimeter. You don't need all that. People. It's like speeds and feeds, right? Everyone wants the biggest specs. You want the biggest lens. You don't really even need it. 500 ain't even that much. I'm just playing into it because I knew you were playing into it.
Yeah,
so
I don't have first clue about lenses or cameras or anything like that. That's the in-joke. They start talking about ISOs and stuff like that, and I just join in and going, yeah, that sounds about right.
Chris, you always shoot raw, right? Like always.
Oh, always. It's the only way to shoot, isn't it? I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm going to quickly move on. By the way, BQD23 says happy birthday to KMR tomorrow. Kevin Michael Reed's birthday's tomorrow. Did we know that? And how does he know? Is that Kevin Michael Reed's burner account, maybe? Well, there we go. Now we know. So we'll make sure we do wish him happy birthday. There we go. Very much appreciate that. Supersonic retro propulsion. What do they actually do on ship and booster between static fire and flight? Okay, Alex. What do they do? I mean, this is more about the pre-launch preparations. Things like the Starlink simulator installs and things like that. Maybe you could collaborate on that a bit more, Alex.
Yeah, they do all the installation of the... Sorry, I was hearing certain venting sounds. but yeah, so they have the Starlink loading, of course. They still have a few finishing touches on the TPS, even though it's mostly completed. There's like a few things, like just tiny little bits here and there that need to be done. Hopefully this time around, I really hope we get the actual numbers like delivery and everything on the sides of the ship and all that. But yeah, it's mostly just going through final reviews and checking out that all of the hardware is good to go, that the engine test data from this test campaign is good. Remember with Ship 37 what happened? Where they sent it back to Mega Bay, and then at the Mega Bay after a day or so, they were like, you know what? Let's change an engine. And they had to come back again with the ship and test it again at the pad. So let's hope that doesn't happen with Ship 38, although I wouldn't be complaining about that for technical schedule reasons, I guess. But yeah, that's sort of the whole thing, of looking through the data. That is the most important thing that they do very close to the launch, to make sure that everything is fully ready for flight. Because otherwise, again, they may be bringing it back again if something were to happen, right? So yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah, also, just thinking of the future, this is an interesting question, because we were talking about Kevin Michael Reed, and slightly below it was a Ship 26 question, so I thought, hang on a minute, that's definitely Kevin Michael Reed's burner account, but it's not. It's J.R. asking a question that I'm now going to ask as well, Alex, because the question is, will we get an updated version of Ship 26? And you might think that's a joke, but actually, if you think about it, they have the Target and Chaser demo missions coming up next year, all being well, the refilling tests. Will the propellant vehicle have flaps?
Yes.
Oh, it will have flaps. So I'm not thinking
And
of like a bullet thing. All right.
Yep. The tankers will have heat shield and flaps and everything. They are going to be actually most likely the most reusable ships of the Starship fleet. The ones that go to Mars, those are going to be the least reusable, because every time they fly, it's going to be like every 2 years or something, because they got to launch from Earth and get fuel in orbit and everything, and then go out to Mars. They spent a few years there, and then they come back. So it's going to be maybe like 20 flights or something. 20 flights will be like, what, 40 years of operations, right? Like, it's probably not even going to be 20 flights or something like that. It's probably going to be even less than 10, perhaps. But then on the other hand, you have the tankers. And the reason why they're going to be the most reusable is because you need to launch a lot of them. You need to launch, I don't know, like a dozen of them into orbit in order to be able to fill the other ships that are going to Mars, doing other things, going to the moon and all that. So the majority of the tankers are going to be flying dozens and dozens of times in a year, even just in a year alone. They're probably going to be launching lots and lots of times. So those are going to be super usable. They're going to be landing. Another advantage is that they're just tankers. You don't need to load any cargo. You know, like the Starlink variants, for example, or the normal payload starships and things like that. You need to probably, you know, set them aside, load the payloads and everything. Here, the payload is just the propellant. You just put it back on the booster, load it with propellant, and up you go, right? And those are probably going to be the most reusable ships that you're going to see. And yeah, the Target and Chaser, those are going to be also, you know, just like this. Block 3 will probably look a lot like the Block 2 ships, at least outside. There's going to be a few small differences, but the little things that we've seen seems to imply that it's going to be relatively similar on the outside. A lot of the changes are going to be internal, essentially. And, of course, it's going to have all of the docking mechanisms, those 4 different pins, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, that sort of let them to be able to dock with each other. So that's going to be really interesting.
Cool. I'm going to skip through. There's a lot more support to read. Now, I'm just going to skip straight through to Bideford because everyone's shouting at me to leak. The leak is that Bideford has noted Vera's super chat. Bless you, Bideford. Thank you very much for that support. You didn't need to. You could have just put at NASASpaceflight. Patch 10 on the way to my house. Yeah. Ready for patch 11 now, Chris. Leak? Well, you know me. I never leak. But because I've been asked to, I will definitely leak. We do have news about patch 10. And that is, we now know that it is shipping. As always, we tend to release the patch and then do it as pre-order. And we always give a timeline of when it's shipping. And this one is shipping on time per the process of what we're expecting. So it is now in the actual warehouse and it is now shipping out to people who've got it. So very much appreciate support for getting this patch. It is one of the best ones we've done. It is absolutely gorgeous. And it has many meanings as well. The Phoenix from the Flames. And it has worked out. The prophecy became true. It did take the role of Ship 36. Remember, Ship 36 was going to fly on Flight 10. But of course, Ship 36 went boom at Masses. So they replaced it, and Flight 10 went all to plan. It was a very good mission from all intents and purposes. So the patch is now out for that one, and it is now shipping. So it's in stock. It's no longer pre-order, basically, is a long story short. And Bideford, getting the shipping notification allowed us to jump on that one and just mention it. So thank you for your support, for everyone who got that patch. And of course, Flight 11's patch will be released as pre-order, I think, pre-order at least. I think we're looking at good timelines now. Will be released to the public on a stream for the stacking. When we get to stacking of Flight 11. Yes, Jack?
I feel like I say this every time, but Flight 11's patch is really beautiful. Flight 10's patch is also exquisite. And thank you, everybody, for your patience. Like, the speed with which Starship is launching and the amount of care that we want to give the patches means that, like, the pre-order thing, you know, it takes a little bit. And so now they're in stock and they're shipping. So thanks to everybody, again, for the patience. Dude, Flight 11's patch, though, I just got my shirt from the merch team I'm not going to leak anything, but I got my shirt from the merch team to wear in, you know, Flight 11 videos and whatnot. It's quite nice. It's really nice. It's a really cool patch. So be excited for Flight 11's patch and be excited if you got a Flight 10 one because they're shipping now. Yay.
Yeah. And I'll get to thank a lot of you in person, by the way, because we have a UK meetup coming up, the UK EU meetup. That's a mouthful to mention, by the way. Chris W. was on a super chat. Thank you for that, because you've mentioned it. Just really awesome. See you all next week. Let's go UK EU meetup. P.S. Up the Minsterman, which is York City's nickname. Thank you, Chris. That's very much appreciated. I get to say that live on internet in front of 7,500 people. Ron Smith, any chance Ship 39 could do a static fire on Pad 1 Orbital Launch Mount because they need more time and masses? I think by 39, which is the first Block 3 vehicle, masses might be ready. Jack, you've been out there and literally photographed it with your camera and seen it with your Mark 1 eyeballs. How is Masses looking? In fact, you've done a flyover as well, so I mean, you've literally seen what Masses look like right now. Jack?
Talking while muted, sorry.
No way, you never do that.
I'm really good at my job. Yeah, I don't think 39 will static fire on Pad 1, and Massey's is coming along quite nicely. We do have a Starbase update coming out later today. Is it Monday? What is time?
Yes, today.
But it's got the flyover footage in it, as well as our most recent summary did as well. So if you want to see like what the status of Massey's is, I don't know. I just don't think it's a thing. I mean, Alex, do we expect 39 to have like a completely different set of hookups than Block 2 ships?
Yeah, it is. It is just completely different in terms of the quick disconnect sort of dealie, if you will. The port essentially for the quick disconnect is going to look a lot different. That's why I said that, you know, a few of the internals, largely Block 3 ships are going to look very similar to the current generation, but there are a lot of internal changes in like the tankage, the engines, but also the connections, the umbilicals there, as you can see. It's going to change for Block 3. And so you will essentially need a whole new set of hardware to be able to do any of that. In theory, yes, you could just make up something like that, but this question is assuming that Ship 39 will be ready first before Massey's, and the problem is that's very unlikely right now. Ship 39 is way behind.
Yeah, but back on to Ship 38. That's a lot of locks, isn't it? Alex, what we're thinking from this? We're thinking 6 engines now.
Yeah, unless they stop loading Logadoction just right now, I'm thinking this is going to continue until a full load, which means we're probably going to get a... I'm also seeing the engine chill. Yeah, looks like we have engine chill underway, which will imply a test within 20 minutes.
Ooh.
So around 1:40 p.m., maybe?
That'll work. Very nice.
Excellent.
Indeed. I was going to quickly just mention, just backing up the UK meetup, I was going to say I'm going to thank, it's literally several hundred people are going to it. Tom's asking, and Tom, you remember, by the way, I've noticed in chat, UK meetup news to me, where's that at? If you go to this goes to all member levels, by the way, use the community page on our YouTube channel where you announce things. We just got so much demand just from members. That's all we needed to do. It was crazy. But yeah, it's literally in London on October the 4th. And several hundred people are literally coming. It's just an absolutely crazy amount of interest we've got around the world. But for UK meetup as it is, that was bonkers support. So yeah, just check the community pages. I've literally, along with the photographs and things like that we do for members, I do post announcements for members and things like that, such as that meetup. So the details are in there, Tom. I know you've got access to it, so just check it out. But I'm going to quickly put that into the thing so you can see what I was talking about there. Let me thank Art Tech as well. Done 20 gifted Red Team memberships, which is bonkers. Space Pup has done a tip to Kevin Michael Reid, who Kevin Michael Reid will have to make sure gets. Happy birthday, Kevin Michael Reid, whenever that day is, which is tomorrow apparently. Here's a $50 for some yum-yums. Oh, my word. Chromatic's gifted Red Team membership. Thank you, Chromatic. I mean, somebody in chat has got a gifted membership for a month, and a month where we're probably going to see a launch, so that's really cool. And Nova's Tipai has done a big super chat in a foreign currency that I can't read, but I very much appreciate it. And you're just putting cloud emojis in your message, which I assume is related to venting. Thank you very much.
It works out to like $37, which is super appreciated.
No
Thank
small
you so
amount.
much.
Yeah, very much. Very generous.
Everybody that's getting a gifted membership, I think are we doing a members multi-view for this stream? I think we are.
We are.
So if you want to see all of the different camera angles and not hear us, or hear us and then also see whatever combination of hearing us and camera angles you want, check out the members multi-view, especially if you just got gifted a membership. It's another one of those cool perks that's part of the membership program that is absolutely crucial to helping us do what we do.
Very much, sir. Very much appreciate it. While we're watching Ship 38, there was an announcement today about the new astronaut class at NASA, which was always a fascinating event to watch. And there was a certain name that everybody went, oh, really? I can't believe it. Alex Sadias asked, did you hear the Polaris Dawn member and SpaceX engineer Anna Menon has been selected along this year's astronaut class? Yes, we did, didn't we, Alex? And we all went, ooh.
Yeah. I mean, I was surprised. You know, she was introduced first, like, she was working at NASA and whatever, and then she worked at SpaceX, and I'm like, huh, somebody that worked at SpaceX, and then they said, and she flew on Polaris Dawn. I was like, what? and so in my brain, as I was trying to process that description, I was like, it's either Sarah Gillis or Anna Menon, and then I thought, like in a fraction of a second, I thought it's probably Anna Menon, because her husband is also a NASA astronaut. So it's quite, you know, I don't know. It's just funny that both are gonna be now part of the NASA astronaut corps.
I think
So
it's super
cool.
cool, but I will. I mean, I don't do politics. I don't do politics. Full stop. I just no interest in politics. Just how I am. I don't think that's a very good thing. I think everyone should be engaged, but I just never have been. But I wish Jared was NASA administrator as well. Imagine that.
Wow.
NASA administrator Jared Isaacman, and
Yeah.
then NASA astronaut Anna. That would be crazy. Right. More
Yep.
questions.
Would have been nice.
Alex, this is quite a good question. I've not really thought about this one myself. Germ the Crow asked, why couldn't they fire 3 engines on a static fire? So, like, just maybe the RVACs. They couldn't they?
But then it wouldn't be what they want, right? Like
No.
they could if they wanted to do that. If they wanted to say, hey, I woke up today and I kind of want to fire 3 engines instead of 6. Can I? Yes, of course I can, right? Like that would be sort of the whole idea. The idea behind this test is just an acceptance test, being able to make sure that they're going to be working in sort of like similarly-ish conditions as they're going to be doing in flight, right? And being able to look out for different little things and everything, and also making sure that they can see the result out of that. The reaction of the engine attached to the vehicle also remember that, for example, it uses these high pressure gases to be able to speed up the pumps, and then it also has the torch igniters as well, which also are provided with commodities from the Starship itself. So you've got a lot of these systems on the vehicle itself that also need to come up alive for igniting the engines, right? And so the whole reason why they ignite all 6 is because that's what they're going to be using on flight in the flight, right? And then when they do the single engine test, that also tests the mechanism, all the transfer tubes and everything coming from the header tanks, the header tank pressurization, all that. Like all of those systems get also tested with just one single engine test. They could do 3 engines, yeah. There's no physical limitation why they couldn't do that. It's just not a really useful test for flight planning, I guess.
Well, stay on the line,
Yeah.
Alex, because I've got a related question. Sorry, Jack. I was just so related to this.
No, go
James
ahead.
Neal asks, could they do a 6-engine test and a single a few minutes later, like would happen in a real flight, Alex?
That will be interesting. It's just not something that they've really done in the past. It is something that it's also being theorized for a long time of people wanting to see that. And the only time that they've been really done like multiple static fires in the same day was the latest was like Ship 20 many years ago. They did like an RVAC and then an RVAC in our Raptor sea level and things like that. Like it was something a little bit weird. It was like the beginning of firing ships with RVAC engines, essentially. So they were testing different configurations to see the reactions. And the other time was SN9, if you remember, 3 static fire tests in the same day. But that
was a
didn't even
wild day.
test. Yeah, right? That didn't even test, conditions in flight and things like that. It was just the test was repeatedly static firing the ship and seeing what happens. So I don't know. Could they, just like I said for the other one? Yes, it's not impossible for them technically to do that. Would they though? Would they want to do such a thing? Maybe at one point we might see something like that, right? It's one of those things that I'd be open to see in the future. It's just not something that they traditionally do, if you will.
Yeah.
I think part of the problem with it is with a 6 engine and then a 1 right after is it's all about test as you fly, I assume, right? So if you fire a 6 engine firing with conditions that are appropriate for that, normally, if you're launching a ship, it's depleted of propellant and its systems have gone through the associated work and strain with depleting all of that propellant. So between the 6-engine static fire and the single, would they need to change the propellant load? Would they need to would they need to just fully recycle the ship and put it into a different state for a single engine? I don't know. It'd be interesting if they did 2 in one day. I certainly wouldn't be upset about it. I don't expect it, but you never know what to expect in Starbase.
Here I'd be more... Oh, sorry.
No,
ahead.
just like based on the prop load or the LOX load at least, do we think 6 or 1 or any
Yeah.
indications?
Yeah, right now it's 6 engines. And by the way, if this were to be sort of around 1:40 p.m., that means we may be 10 minutes away. And if you remember, around the T-minus 10-minute mark, they do this thing with the flaps of like
Oh, I'm gonna go roll my
checkouts.
camera. I'm gonna go roll my camera.
Yeah, do that, because they may move the flaps. So stay tuned. Keep an eye on those, because if they start moving and everything, we may be like 10 minutes or so. Give it or take a few minutes here and there. But yeah, right now you can see there's like just a couple of rings from getting a full liquid oxygen tank. I will say though, the whole reason why I also don't think that we'll get multiple static fires in a day, especially from here from the launch site, is because of the deluge system. The deluge system has a very limited amount of water in it. And unlike the upcoming Pad 2, Flame Trench and everything, it doesn't have any way to collect that water and sort of reuse it again, maybe within a few minutes or even like within the same day, right? And so once it's gone, and that's it. You have to go out and refill it again. And so that's one of the problems. We can see there already some frost on the methane tank, which is great.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I didn't actually appreciate it. When I read the question out, I was thinking, maybe. But that water deluge system on Pad 1, that is a big deal, isn't it? They just can't do 2 in such fast succession with our water deluge system. So that's a big point there. Let me thank a few more people, by the way. Off-Grid Everything. Why are you on the internet then? Has become a PADRAP member. Sander van der Kamp has become a PADRAP member as well. Welcome. Ninja Decimator. Pew, pew, pew. So I've got to do it. That's the rules, by the way. That is the rules. You've got to do every single time. Pew, pew, pew. As a gift, thank you. You got a better pew than I have. As a gift of 5 Red Team memberships. As always, thank you, Ninja Decimator. I see your name so many times. John, speaking of which, Mr. Coffee, I've still got to message you back. I've got to remember. I'm going to write it down on a piece of paper right now. I'm stopping the stream. I'm going to write it down. Mr. Coffee, hang on one second. I'm writing it down. I've got, like, people use, like, online diaries and stuff. I still write down with a pen and paper. There you go, right? I will definitely DM you after the stream is over, because I promised you something and I'm going to do it for you. It's a gift of Red Team membership. Tim has become a PADRAP member as well. We had a lot of people actually becoming members themselves rather than gifting memberships, which were really cool as well. Very nice spread. Thank you very much for your support. It's very much appreciated. Everyone's asking, I think they're just joining now, and you can see the numbers going up. We're 9,000 in right now. People are asking for T0s and what have you. We don't get a T0 per se. It's all observational. There's no countdown clock that we have access to. I'm sure there is in the mission control at SpaceX. And even then they can have holds. But we are looking about 7 minutes to go, Alex, aren't we? 7 minutes based on the engine chill. But again, they can have holds at what, T-minus 40 seconds?
Yeah, they can go all the way to T-minus 40 seconds and then hold there and wait for a few minutes. Sometimes the reasoning behind this, it could be just, they're looking at some extra data, working on some temperatures and things like that. But even when everything is okay, it can still be valuable to do that hold at the T-minus 40 second mark, because that can prepare, especially, now it's not probably the example of that, because we're going to have a very short turnaround, knock on wood. But when there's like a longer turnaround and things like that, it can also help them to remember what it is to have a hold and having to do, all the checkouts and everything, and keep the ship there for a few minutes before actually resuming the count and continuing with all of the, preparations. But yeah, we'll see what happens today.
Very good. And remember to ooh if you see anything, because I'll be talking and I will not looking at the screen because we're looking at the questions. So remember to interrupt me, because this is getting to the business end now of this countdown to potential 600 static fire test of Ship 38. But Jack, Oliver Redmond says, never mind that. I'm looking forward to the flight itself. Do we know if there will be a booster catch on Flight 11?
I don't think we know one way or the other, but I think a lot of us are expecting that it is not going to be a booster catch, and they're going to expand the booster doing some more testing on this flight. But I could have missed something, or I could be wrong. But that's my expectation. I think we'll get back to booster catches once we're into Block 3. I'm waiting for Alex to tell me I'm completely wrong.
You're good.
Yay.
There we go. So vote of
Sorry, I
confidence
was writing a little thing.
by the way, we do have more future questions. John is asking, when will we know how many refueling launches it will take to fill a Mars-bound ship? This is a good question because it is a part of conjecture where, especially some of the derogatory comments from rivals tend to be, oh, Starship is great, but they're going to launch like 12 before they can refill a vehicle before it goes to Mars. And our vehicle is like, oh, launch it and send it. So there's a lot of pros and cons about refilling, but again, with this vehicle's projected cadence, it's built in. That's fine. But Jack, do we have any idea how many refilling launches it will take to get a vehicle back to its propellant capacity that it can launch a mission to Mars? Because when they start launching this fleet of vehicles to Mars, that's a lot of refilling launches to start with, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we know a number. I don't know if SpaceX knows a number until they start flying and getting data from Block 3 and beyond ships. But, I mean, 8, 10, 15. I've seen so many numbers thrown around even just for moon operations. It's hard to like say it's going to take this many. I mean, we're so early on still. But I don't think it's going to be the case. Like, if you're imagining the concept of operations where a ship with people or cargo to Mars launches and then they have to dock with a bunch of different tankers and it takes a whole bunch of time, like, that's not how it's going to work. Presumably there's going to be some sort of depot or a tanker that stays up there and is serviced by other tankers until it itself is full and then can fill up the Mars-bound or moon-bound ship in one go. So yeah, it'll still take a lot of launches to fill up the depot, but for the actual critical hardware that's needing all of this fuel should just be a single docking, filling, and go. Now, the depot ops, man, talk about something I'd love a technical update on. I mean, geez, so many unknowns, and it's not unknown in the sense that I don't think it's possible. It's absolutely possible. SpaceX is going to nail it, but it's just we don't know yet. At least the public doesn't know yet how all of that's quite going to work.
Indeed. I'm now just keeping a very close eye because we're getting closer and closer. Alex, what will be the next big thing to expect to see as we get closer to the engine ignition?
Yeah, once they wrap up propellant load, we'll see the comeback of the OLM vent. That'll indicate that liquid oxygen load has wrapped up. It's quite interesting that they did not do the flap testing, or at least I didn't see the flaps moving. So maybe they're not doing that on this ship. Maybe they're skipping it. We'll see. But yeah, definitely a lot more full on the liquid oxygen tank. They are pretty much all the way up. So I should expect to see that OLM vent coming back any minute now. And once that happens, it's like a little bit under 3 minutes from the end of the countdown. So we'll see what happens.
I think the vehicle heard you. I've got people screaming in chat that the flaps are moving.
They are moving? Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Ship's listening to this stream. Goes, I'll show Alex. I forgot about the flap testing. Thank you, Alex. It's now waving at us. So yeah, the flaps had moved. That is another step towards. I mean, it's now coming up to the 140 CDT, which is roughly around the time we were thinking based on engine chill. So we're just keeping close eyes on this. Guarantee you that when we get to the water the DSS even, we'll stop talking because the only noise you want to hear is the pad noises, as I would totally expect and I would appreciate from everybody. So we will stop talking at that point, and I will set my Bandicam to record so I can do a tweet and be a fast instant replay for those who follow me on X. We do have other social medias, of course. We've got our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, the whole cacophony of, that's not even a word, the whole collection of social media platforms, because you've all got your preferences and we want to make sure you're all dealt with as far as what you gather from social media from us. Now then, getting closer. This is now 140. Go, Alex. Yes.
I do wonder if the late flap movement and testing and whatever means they're going to be holding a little bit more here. Because based on when the engine chill started, which is usually, again, based on the timelines, it's usually around 20 minutes before, technically 19 minutes and 40 seconds before T0. So we should have had a test by now, right? Because it happened roughly at 1:20 p.m. Central, so it should have happened already. But maybe they're taking it a little bit slower, right? Than usual. And so maybe that flap test, it occurred roughly at 1:39:38, sort of at the end of the minute, right? So if it is roughly 10 minutes to that, maybe they're just going to be, hanging around there and moving that T0. Perhaps I will say now probably 1:45, 1:48 or something like that, based on that flap movement.
And that's fine. I think people who are joining the stream now, we've got 11,000 people. I don't know why I keep reading this number. It's an indication of people joining. I want to make sure the people who join are just right up to date. We've got no depressed vent or anything like that. The frost isn't going down. There's no panic. This is just basically they're going through the process, and we're still on track for a static fire test. That's where we are right now. I did see some people in chat just like panicking that it was like an abort or something like that.
No.
It's not an abort, no.
We're definitely still on. Again, the next thing that we should see should be that liquid oxygen venting from the OLM vent. That'll be the end of liquid oxygen load on Ship 38. Just a few more minutes away, and we'll be there.
Very good. Exciting. Also, a very nice scene, this. It's got the mix of blue sky and clouds. It's kind of like a bit like home. Someone did say Yorkshire Spaceport. It'd be a bit more cloudy if it was, to be fair. But it is a nice scene. I do like it. Especially I did a time lapse this morning. In fact, I'm going to find it on my X account. Bear with me. 1 second while I go through my own tweets, as I still call them. I did a time lapse of the sunrise this morning. It was, again, Starbase. I mean, South Texas, I assume, in general. Has some beautiful, beautiful scenes. So there's a post, by the way, because it is a very cool, just the way the clouds and the sunrise is, with the two pads in the background as well. One day we're going to have two vehicles on both pads. Now, I do believe they'll have to modify pad 1 first, but let's take this as a question, Alex. In fact, even though no one's asked it, I'm going to take it as a question. How long do you think until we see two Block 3 vehicles on two pads at Starbase?
Probably 2027. Yeah, because as you said, pad 1 needs to be turned into Block 3 compatible launch pad, right? They need to turn down all the launch mount stuff. They need to put on the flame trench, the new style launch mount. A lot of things need to happen for pad 1 to be able to host a Block 3 booster and ship. So they'll probably just get to that sort of reality, if you will, in 2027. There could be something closer to that, but in time, but not in space, I guess, which is a full stack at Starbase and another one in Florida with the Starship pad at 39A. That could be a little bit earlier.
Yeah, it's exciting though, because that's the progression. It might take a while. I know a lot of people don't have the patience. I don't have the patience to start with. I'd like to see things now. But that is the outlook, and that is what is planned. This is not something on a PDF where they're just talking about hopes and ambitions. This is actually going to be happening. So that's a real cool thing. I want to go back to the water deluge again, because this is a good point from Ryan, who says, why can't they run the deluge system after it's triggered on a non-catch flight? Doesn't the system need to be used twice for a catch? So that's a good point. But I think when the booster comes back down for a chopstick catch, the water deluge system is really on low pressure compared to the launch, Alex. Is that right?
Yeah. It's just very low pressure. And I mean, don't take my word for granted. Just hear and listen to what Dan Hewitt says when they talk about, what are the possibilities when they are in a hold, right? And they have to clear the hold, and now they go through the, final 40 seconds of the count, and he repeats many, many times, if we fire the deluge today, it's done for the day. Because if they do that, the water just gets exhausted, right? It escapes the plate. And by the way, speaking of escaping, there we go. Oil and vent is coming back, so probably a test within 3 minutes or so. But coming back to the argument, just one thing as well is that it is true that it is because they need to refill and everything for liftoff operations. But as we've seen for single engine tests, they also do the full deluge system, and in fact, it kind of looks very, very weird for just one engine. But yeah, so it's not really even comparable.
Very good. So this is where I've still got loads of questions, and I make a big deal out of trying to answer or at least ask as many questions as possible because I like it being interactive. That's the whole point, having a YouTube channel with a chat room. Well, chat room. How old am I? Where people can ask questions, live questions. I love the idea as well to answer live questions during a stream. That makes it far more interactive, and that's how I like it. But we're going to concentrate now on Ship 38. At the milestones, we're now probably about 2 minutes away from a potential static fire test. Alex will be keeping a very close eye on things, and I am sure the only person you want to hear now is Alex, and also when we go quiet, because when they do fire up the water deluge system, we want to hear the Raptors roar and nothing else, and that's the whole point. So we are getting closer and closer. The Orbital Launch Mount vent is now off again, Alex.
Yeah, that's normal. The next thing should be the detonation suppression system being activated. There's a few other indicators that I normally use, but they are more subtle. One of them is the depress vent at T-minus 40 seconds. That happens sort of on the side of the OLM. Maybe I can see that and say ahead of time, hey, the test will happen, right? But we'll see what happens. Definitely the detonation suppression system, that mist of water and nitrogen underneath of the engines, that'll be a clear indication that we are getting ready for that. Then the deluge system, of course, and right after that, the engines firing. Again, we expect, that's the key word here, expect a 6-engine static fire test based on the amount of liquid oxygen that they have loaded. But you never know, right? It's one of those things that, let's see what happens.
If they do a 6-engine test and skip the single engine, this could be the last time the Orbital Launch Mount on Pad 1 sees a static fire, and the only other remaining fire would be hopefully ignition and liftoff of the full stack on Flight 11 before they revamp this whole thing. And very likely the last time a ship will be static fired in this very unique configuration. So we'll see what happens with that potential closure, the backup day tomorrow, but hopefully they can get this test done and get the ship rolled back to the barn, whether or not they need a second static fire after this single or 6-engine or whatever it is, or spin prime. We've seen how it's gone with 37 and past ships as well. But, fingers crossed, if everything goes well, green lights to Malibu, this will be a very unique closeout or part of the closeout for Pad 1.
Green lights to Malibu. I do like that saying. I might have to start using that.
I can't take credit. That's from Eric Berger's most recent book. It's a SpaceX-ism, I think. Is that? So, I can't recommend that book enough. I'm blanking on the name right now. Ship, static fire.
Yeah, we're all keeping a very close eye on this now. We're going to slow down on the questions and slow down on the commentary because we are just waiting for that DSS to fire up. While we're waiting, Alex, and stop if it starts, what is the DSS and what's it for?
That is the detonation suppression system, and they use water and nitrogen to be able to displace methane out of the air underneath the engines. It works very similar. You remember, I'm going to mention the shuttle, the sparks under the engines, right? Those were hydrogen burn-off igniters, as they are called technically. And those sparks are essentially to burn off the hydrogen that sort of pools underneath of the engines, right? And that allows them to not become a hazard once the engines ignite and sort of engulf the shuttle in flames. Very much like we saw with the Delta IV Heavy and the Delta IV Medium rockets. And so very similarly, this system allows for that to be cleared. I'm hearing some venting. Sorry, I thought for a second that it was indeed that system being activated, but it seems like it's another type of venting.
But yeah, I can actually, interrupt me, Alex, if anything happens. I can mention the roughies, which were the igniters, spark igniters on the shuttle pad. And that was one of the famous ones was the STS-93, not just launch, which was very famous for its issues, but also the abort that happened before it. The roughies fired up, and the indications were hydrogen in the aft, give cutoff, give cutoff. That is literally, they were screaming, well, not screaming, they were shouting down the comms line to give a cutoff. It's like T-minus 6 seconds to go. That was quite sporty. That was a sporty abort. But that was STS-93, which is full of things, and that's where the actual bet concur come from. The actual mission itself, the actual launch itself was you bet concur, we don't need any more of these. A little short reference. Can't be a short reference. It does look like we're in a hold, Alex.
Yeah, it's been a while since we saw the return of the OLM vent, and of course, the end of propellant load. Things are very quiet, tank form-wise. They are right now just keeping it there. Super, in another sort of set of words instead of in a hold, I guess.
Just out of interest, if we know, how long can they hold in this situation without having to say, hang on a minute, we've held too long now, we've got to depress? How long can they hold it for?
We're not sure for just the ship itself, for full stack, when they do these, launch attempts and whatnot. We know that it's roughly 15 to 20 minutes or so, just because of the sheer size of the rocket. The propellant doesn't warm up that much during those few minutes, right? Oh, there we go. Detonation suppression system is on. Here comes the test.
Nice. I get to do that's the first time ever after a static fire test I get to talk first. Nice. That's my Opta world. But that looked very good. And that looked like 6 engines, Alex?
Yep. 6 engines. And the 2 banks of engines igniting. Yeah, I'm looking at some of the other views as well. I like to do that. We have a members multi-view, right? With all the different views. So there you go. But so far so good. I think that looked great. Of course, just looking at it with my own eyes. I'm no engineer, no controller at SpaceX with all of the screens and graphs and data and everything. But it did look good. So we'll see what happens now after this.
Well, what I can do is I can get rid of the poll because we now got that question answered. I have put my little Bandicam clip of the firing into the top of the chat, which is something I tend to do. Again, that's on X. It's the video, but it's something that you literally just joined because you've heard a static fire test and you go, oh, want to watch it? You could rewind the stream, to be fair, but that's a quick little link for you there. And you can also share that to your friends, family, and your grandma. Show your grandma to say, Grandma, do you want to see this engine test? And she'll go, oh, please. Yes, please. I'm a big Starship fan. Can you imagine? Maybe they are. Maybe some people are. I can't rule these things out anymore. Let's go back to questions. I do have a lot of questions before the static fire happened, so they may be slightly redundant now, but I can thank people who are supporting us at the same time. George Promery became a PADREP member, as did Simon Walter. Welcome to both of you, both now members. Ben Creasy Vision. Why do they seem unsatisfied with Raptor performance after a lot of these tests? Any theories? Are they unsatisfied with Raptor performance, Alex?
I'm not sure that's a thing, or at least I'm not aware of them voicing discomfort or dissatisfaction with Raptor. I don't know. It
No.
feels like, yeah.
The only way I could take that is the progressive updates they're making, such as the version Raptor 2 to Raptor 3, and then they've obviously got probably a version Raptor 4 coming. That is just something they're naturally evolving, rather than like unsatisfied with the performance of, say, Raptor 2. And let's face it, Raptor 2 especially on the booster. Let's face it, on the booster, it's performed so well. I'm trying to think back. I think only one engine out in the last 4 flights of the booster, maybe. I think the last 3 before that were all full engines all the way. And then flight 10 was 1 engine out. Alex, can you think back and maybe confirm that's true?
Yeah, the booster had 1 engine out, and it was like 90 seconds into flight. Like, it was not even off the pad. It was well into the flight. So probably had some hiccup or something during the flight. But yeah, boosters, they fly with 33 engines. They do fine for landing, even when some rogue Raptor doesn't want to relight or something like that. They still can do all of the landings and everything. This is one of the things of Starship and Super Heavy and all that they often can do a lot of these maneuvers and everything without really needing the full set of engines, if you will. But I don't see any satisfaction or anything like that. I see them just testing a ship because that's what they do.
Yeah, it is also. I normally have traditionally said that there's no way to really know if the test went well. As much as visually it looked great and it audibly it sounded great, that's not really a data-driven answer. But I've always taken the opinion of when SpaceX do a static fire, and this goes back to the Falcon 9 days, when they do a static fire test, a few hours later, SpaceX will put a tweet out. Tends to be with Starship, it'll be a drone shot, a real cool version, maybe from the Orbital Launch Mount view as well. We'll get some great videos and photographs from SpaceX. And they'll mention the static fire test, and that tends to be an indication all went well. The only caveat is, last time they did that, they ended up swapping the Raptor out and taking it back out from the test. So I don't know how much weight we can put in that. I would certainly hope we get to see that at least, so it points that they're optimistic it was a good test. But that is no longer a confirmation of a good test. A good confirmation will be maybe to start loading the Starlink simulators into it, because that will be a repeat static fire test if they're doing that already. I'm trying to think of timeline now to launch. If this is the final test and they don't go for a single engine test tomorrow, again, we just don't know either ways right now. How long do you think until they were ready to launch? And don't say October the 3rd or 4th, Alex.
I mean, if you look at the past, let's consider Ship 37, right? It is true that it had to come back and repeat it. At least it did a spin prime test after an engine swap. But after that, the very first attempt at launching Ship 37 on top of booster, was it 16? I don't even remember now. But yeah, so Flight 10, the first attempt was 11 days after that final engine test of the ship on the Orbital Launch Mount. So if today is indeed the last test for Ship 38, that means 11 days from now, in theory, they could launch if they just followed the same sort of timeline as Flight 10. And I'm really, really sad to tell you, Chris, that if you were to do the math on what date that will land you on, that will be October 3rd. So maybe we'll have to have Starship coverage from the UK.
Well, the problem is on October 3rd, we're travelling down. So that's even worse.
Yeah.
October the 4th will be fine. We could do it from the meetup. That'd be crazy.
Well, it will be 3rd in Starbase, but then you have to account for the 6 hours difference.
Oh, yeah, I'll be there.
So,
I'm travelling down midday-ish, so that'd be fine. That's right, yeah, time zones. Yeah, time zones. Finally, time zones work in our benefit. Normally, time zones are the bane of my life. Because I have friends who go, Chris, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Why are you not up? And I'm like, because I got to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's why. Says Americans. Mike Alpha Tango Sierra, which is Matt, goes, no Sierra, Charlie, Romeo, or Uniform Bravo today. 3rd time's a charm. Well done. You sent that 15 minutes ago, and you were correct. We didn't get a scrub. So well done. We had a static fire test. Astra Knucklehead did a tip. Given the dramatic need for increasing Raptor 3 engines and upcoming iterations, how isn't it logical and logistically appropriate to either move from Hawthorne or expand Raptor manufacturing to either Starbase or KSC? Jack, what do you think about this? Raptor production. We have only seen in the 30s for Raptor 3s at McGregor so far, so they are kind of like needing a lot more Raptor 3s. Would a secondary production site, maybe more locally in Texas, make sense?
I don't know, maybe. I am not that great with logistical details and things like that. I I do seem to remember a time where they wanted to move Raptor production to McGregor and then ended up not. Turns out the Los Angeles and Southern California area has a deep aerospace heritage and a large workforce of extremely skilled individuals who don't want to live in the middle of nowhere in Texas. I don't know the extent to which that played a factor in SpaceX seemingly continuing to build Raptors in Hawthorne, but yeah, maybe at some point a local production facility at the Cape or at McGregor or what have you makes sense. It hasn't happened yet, and we had heard rumblings that it was going to happen. I thought they were building like a whole big facility at McGregor for it. Some of Gary's excellent flyover shots that he does of McGregor. I don't think anything came of that, though. It's like when they built the air separation unit at the Sanchez lot and then never really did anything with it. It's like sometimes the best laid plans of mice and men and also SpaceX, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Again, we're still we're just at the end of the beginning still.
If I may raise my hand here and sort of defend the Hawthorne teams, is the fact that, Raptor production seemed to go really well with Raptor 2, right? Like, they produced hundreds of engines of the Raptor 2 variant in just like 2 or 3 years, essentially. With just Hawthorne, they could probably just, do the same with Raptor 3. The problem is Raptor 3 is still in development, right? We're still seeing those engines go through McGregor and being, doing all of the development, testing and everything. And we have not seen more than serial number 35, I think it is, the highest. So I'm not sure it's down to the production itself being the problem, but rather that the engine is not mature enough to sort of say, okay, let's turn this in, and get many hundreds of these produced at a time, right? I'm not sure that is really the problem of the production side, but rather the testing side, and obviously the development of the engine. So we'll see.
That's the other thing is, like, if you were going to set up an additional manufacturing or testing facility for engines, that has a non-zero cost, both in just straight up money, but also in human hours. And it's like, would you rather have your engineers focused on building more test stands when you have a perfectly serviceable test facility, or would you rather them focus on building, I don't know, a whole bunch more launch pads?
Yeah,
what about both?
I was going to... Damn it, Alex. You beat me to it.
Fair.
Yeah. By the way, Astro 95 Media, Nathan, has doubled anyway because you're all awesome. Onwards to launch day. See you all October. Thank you very much, Nathan. Yeah, we are still panicking a little bit on the launch day. Again, what'll be will be. We can't start wishing for dates. We just want to see launches. Launches are good. That's fine. Mark Tucker, Caddy Cadman's back, becoming a PadRat member. Fabian has become a PadRat member too. We got
Chris,
a Storm. Yes,
it's Trucker. I just saw him say it in chat like 2 hours ago. It's Trucker. You said Tucker. It's fine. It's
Tucker.
fine. It's not a like Trucker. Like I think you guys call them lorries for some reason that makes no sense. But yeah, it's Trucker.
No,
does that mean?
Yes, Alex?
I was going to ask, does that mean that the person driving that is like a lorrier?
Stop.
Oh, dear. Sawyer, again, has got a lot to answer for.
No, but I mean, trucker?
You know the funny story, Jack, is that I did read it as trucker, but my brain goes, hang on a minute. From your eyes to your brain to your mouth, we're going to change that to Tucker. Well, thanks very much, brain. Appreciate that. Marco, with a store message, got a Flight 9 patch. Wow, I didn't know we were going to Flight 9s left. But one of the last ones, but you go on with your good work. Well, thank you. By the way, that is a thing. When you buy something from the store, we're on a live stream like this, you can put a message in it. It will come out like a super chat. So it's kind of cool little thing we've got in the process of the store there. But there it is on screen. The second flight of that booster. That's what that patch was. Lex Edwards has become a Red Team member, and Apocalypse Cow Danger Moo is back again with 5 Red Team memberships being gifted. Thank you, as always, for all your support. Very much appreciated. We did have lots of questions on streams about this, so I want to read it out. Scott Grits asks, what's the purpose of venting that much LOX? Why isn't it reclaimed? Alex, the venting and all this clouds of vapor, did they even need to reclaim it? Is it part of the process of just a rocket launch? The tank farm lets some of it go?
Yeah, it's a lot easier. It doesn't complicate a lot of the ground systems. And it's cheap. Like liquid oxygen, especially, industrial size oxygen and things like that, it can be sourced very cheaply. Mostly because 20% of our air, a little bit more than 20% is oxygen, right? So you can just grab it from the air, liquefy it, and put it on a Starship, right? And that's in fact what they are about to do. Right across the launch site near the beach, they have already work underway to build an air separation unit, which will take the air and take the nitrogen and oxygen from the air, and also a little bit of the argon as well, which is the third most common gas on our atmosphere. And they're going to be using all of that. The nitrogen is used for a lot of the subcooling and everything and whatnot at the tank farm. Oxygen, of course, for the liquid oxygen on Starship. And the argon, I don't know, maybe for welding or for Starlink satellites. They also use that for fuel. So yeah, but it's one of those things that, it's okay. It doesn't... Reclaiming it will be just complicating more of the ground systems unnecessarily.
Well, you lucky people. You've watched the static fire live. Now you're going to see from a multitude of cameras replays of the static fire test. So we're going to watch the replays now from different angles, which is a cool thing. Now, I can never name the cameras, even though I've been an operator on SPL for years now. This is from Beach. Thank you, Jay. By the way, Jay Keegan's in the background producing. I'm sure he was introduced at the start of the stream while I was busy bandicamming the SpaceX Falcon 9 launch. But yeah, Jay does great work there.
Wow.
Jay is going to tell us which cameras they are. That is Beach View. Beach camera.
Which one of the beaches, though? I think that's 3 or 2.
That looks like 3. It's pretty high up. It might be 2. Nope, Jay in the back
okay,
channel
3.
3 is the hardest camera we have to clean, but it's one of the best looking ones. It's just because it's so high up. Really beautiful day for a test. This will be 2 or 1. Yeah, this is 2. Beach 2. We thank everybody for all the support constantly, and we tell you guys the different ways you can support us. Part of the reason we're so thankful is because we were able over the years to acquire property around Starbase that we have our camera locations. This is one of those properties. This is the North Beach camera site that we have. Has, I think, 3 separate cameras at all times, and then we deploy cameras there deliberately, extra cameras for launch. And that's just one of our camera sites. We also have a South Beach site as well. We'll get to the views from there. This is yet another camera from North Beach.
Beach 1.
Beach 1.
Yeah, I'll quickly address this one from Yardstick, by the way, because I've got an answer from the store team. Did you sort out the shipping cost UK? Last patch order was mega expensive. Yes, we have. That has been sorted now. We told you we're going to work on it because that came as a surprise to all of us. But we now have. It never affected the US shipping or anything like that. But it was just the UK and EU. I think mainly just the UK. That has now been sorted. So Yardstick, yes, is the answer. We have got that sorted now. It's far more reasonable now.
Oh, we're clowns. We totally should have mentioned that earlier. This is from the South Beach property. This is a very nice looking camera. What a cool shot. I don't even care that it got plumed out really fast and autofocus is hunting.
You can kind of see the 2 banks of engines.
Right?
Yeah.
That camera's called South Berlin, and I for the life of me, keep reading it as Josh Brolin. I don't know why. It's inevitable.
Ooh, look at the shock waves around the tower. Gorgeous.
Oh, that is nice.
This is CP11. Thank you to Gage for wrangling CP11 over the last week or 2. One less thing I've had to deal with. Really gorgeous views.
Also shows how much power is involved with just what is 6 engines. I say just. you can imagine taking out into the 33 engines of the booster liftoff. You can just basically imagine you've seen it many times, but you can really appreciate it a little bit more now because it's on the same. You don't normally see a ship static fire in this configuration on the same pad the booster will be sat on and launching from. Right. That's the point being there.
Right. And that was a really good shot from CP-11. We got to actually see some flames, which, given the power of 6 engines versus 33 on the booster, it's not easy to see when static firing a ship in this config. That's a really special and really cool shot. That is also really cool.
And the other.
Let's go.
Yeah, you can see there those 2 ignitions. 6 engines. 3
Absolutely
and 3.
Gorgeous. Look at the shockwaves.
Wow.
We're also getting questions about tiles. I've always said tiles can fall off in a static fire test. There's something where because it's bolted down to the pad, you're going to induce vibrations up the stack. But then Ryan Webber was quick to say, but they've not lost any tiles recently. So I don't know how much stock I can put in my previous statement now. But have we seen some tiles fall off? I don't know if we observed any during our replays here.
Yeah, there were a few that fell off. But again, as you mentioned, that is like, if none were to fall off, that will be actually the surprise, right? Because there are different conditions from flight, namely that they are like the ship is anchored to the OLM. When it is free flying, it's free flying, right? So all of the vibrations and everything act differently across the body of the ship. Here it's more like a tuning fork, right? It's one end that is vibrating and then you're holding the other in place, and so vibrations and everything are different.
Yeah, it's way more harsh than launch, turns out. So
yeah,
I think Mark's done this on purpose, just so I get his name right. But Mark Trucker Caddy Cadman, hey, has now upgraded again to Capcom level.
Hey, what's up, dude?
I've got a funny feeling that was just basically Chris getting my name right, or I'm going to keep upgrading. No, I'm not going to make that. I'm not going to do it on purpose. So we keep upgrading all the time. But you are now a Capcom member, which means you've got access to our Discord server, which is a member Discord, which makes it a far friendlier and fun more place. And it really is, because I spend far too much time in there myself. It's not just on rockets, not just on all the rockets. In fact, we've got channels for every single rocket. There's also off-topic areas like sports ball, where many of us keep telling Americans that football is the round one you kick, as opposed to the egg-shaped one that you throw. Yeah.
Don't make me
we've also got food chat as well, though, Alec, haven't we, Jack? We've got food channel.
We do. I was going to say, don't make me throw tea in the bay. Although, if you want to talk about tea, you can go to food chat, which exists in the member Discord as well, and you can go there and agree that what I think is a bagel is in fact a bagel, because it is. Anyways,
bagel is
Discord,
a lie.
The member Discord rules. Check it out now that you have Capcom level member access. Thank you, Mark Trucker Caddy Cadman.
Joseph got me back by saying you mean soccer, and I can't retort to that, because soccer, ironically, was a word the British invented to differentiate association football with rugby football. So it's our fault. We can't say a bad word about it. We're going to move quickly on. Thomas E. In fact, people have gone bonkers with the patches. Since we mentioned patches, everyone's gone bonkers. Nice. Thomas E. NSF is the best for space launch coverage and testing. Love it. Still need to get Jack. No, that's not allowed anymore.
He almost got you. He almost got you.
Yeah, he almost. Ooh, good job for my reading in advance there. But thank you, Thomas. You got the patch 6. Flight 6. I know a lot of them actually have sold out. Because once they sell out, we can't get more in. It's just the way it works. We've got to get a bulk order in. We can't just get a trickle more in afterwards. Otherwise, it'd be like so mega expensive. It's just not viable. But thank you, Thomas. You also got the... I don't know, which patch you got? You got patch 6 and another one. Let's see which one the other one you got. Let me see what comes up, because it didn't come up on the actual... 11. Oh, you got a Flight 9.
Was it 9?
Flight 9 as well.
Oh,
yes, it is 9. Yeah. And then Archie, I didn't realise there were patches. I'm going to get addicted. Yeah, patches. We do a patch for every single Starship launch. We won't be forever, because we'll get to the cadence where it'll be impossible to keep up. Then we'll do flagship missions, like the refilling mission, for example, is a flagship mission. The Artemis missions, obviously. HLS-related missions, obviously. The first non-Starlink launch, maybe, obviously. Things like that. But for now, right through to Flight 11 at least, and I definitely think for Flight 12 at least, we'll be doing patches, our own NSF patches. We've got an amazing design team. Jax is doing the latest ones and doing amazing work with the patches. They are so fantastic. And you can get them on merch, like in T-shirts and things like that, and mugs and what have you, which is really cool.
Not me, to be clear. Jacques, a different person than me, with a similar name.
Yes.
but much more French sounding.
You're still talented, by the way. Just saying.
Although I would like to see a Jack patch.
It would just be like a stick figure, and the text just says, like, me like rocket.
We'll get like 18,000 orders. We'll go, Jack.
The stick figure is just
from now on.
holding a box shape that's vaguely camera-like. It just says, me like rocket. I might actually have to doodle that on my iPad.
By the way, I'm completely ignoring Jay in the background. This is Outpost.
No, this is not Outpost, Chris.
Oh,
this
we've
is
moved on, have we?
Yeah, the shot from the Rocket Ranch Outpost was many replays ago. We also have, I think, mine I sent to Jay as well. So we'll see more shots from the Outpost. Thanks again to the folks at Rocket Ranch for hosting us. This is another shot from one of our properties, our Highway 4 lot. This, I believe, is road cam.
Of course it's a road. I should know this by now, because you can literally see the road. There we go. Right. Oh, dear me. Yeah.
Also, you can see on the
right
right-hand side some of the missing tiles that have appeared to have become missing post-static fire. Just a couple. It's still good. But yeah, that's that live view on the right as we watch the replays on the left. This is Skycam. It's a co-hosted camera along with that CP11 cam we talked about earlier. It's just kind of like extra wide. You've seen probably some cool footage from this one. Sometimes we'll like place it vertically to catch like booster return, things like that. Skycam's a fun one.
I was just saying in the back room that I can keep going. Normally my brain dies after an hour, and like I said, I'll keep going. And now I'm regretting saying that, because now I'm just talking nonsense. But I will
You're doing
say
great, sweetie.
Those two careful. Those two tiles on the ship. They could be the hero tiles. They could be the hero tiles that delay it to like October the 5th or something. That'd
be great.
Those tiles will get on history as the hero tiles. Oh dear me. By the way, so many questions. We do always have like Raptor sites on Tuesdays and Thursdays, where we can take just pure questions and go through as many interactive questions that come through chat as possible. So we always try to do the opportunity. I do feel bad we can never answer every single question. It's just the nature of the popularity of these streams, which is a great thing, where we just can't always keep doing it. Mark Trucker Caddy Cadman is back. Getting the Flight 6. Hang on, that's not Flight 6. That's we need a White Rose emoji, Chris. You sound like a Yorkshireman, Mark. Excellent. Because those in English people will know that the Red Rose is Lancashire and the White Rose is Yorkshire. So I got that reference. Very much appreciate it. And John Mr. Coffee's back. The Jack Drawing Lessons Fund. You've got a $5 head start, Kickstarter for your drawing lessons, Jack.
Sweet. Thank you.
I'm still ignoring Jay, by the way. South 1 and South 3.
This will be South 03. Right before this, it was South 01. Again, properties all around Starbase. I mean, one of the things we have spent the last 6 or so years, oh my God, doing is making sure that we have the best possible views that we can possibly bring y'all. And that included going to great lengths to secure some really good spots for our cameras forever. So thank you, John, everybody that's been doing the super chats. It really means a lot, because we can have these amazing views, not just on launch day, but for all of these tests and for every single day for Starbase Live too. It's so cool that we have like what do they call it? I'm blanking on the idiom. We have a tragedy of riches. What's the idiom? We have way too many cameras, but we actually don't. More cameras, more better.
Oh, I know what you mean as well, but I can't think of it now either. That's mad. Chat, what is the idiom that we're thinking of? Chat will get it.
It's like a something of riches.
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to think what it is. I'm just stopping up. Sorry, it's still 5,000 people here. Embarrassment of riches. Embarrassment of riches.
There we go.
Thank you, chat. I knew chat.
Apocalypse Cow got it first. Credit where credit's due.
There we go. Who needs grok? We've got chat.
Here's this I think is going to be my slow. It's just a half speed, 60 frames a second, played back at 30, slow-mo replay of the static fire, and I think that's our last replay as well, Chris. Again, thank you to Rocket Ranch for hosting us and our cameras. Always a treat seeing tests and launches from here. Check them out if you want to see a launch from the closest possible place.
My horsey friend Leah is in, saying for the NRO, for the RTS, the recent NR. Oh, Leah, why have you done this to me? There's literally 4 initials there. The Falcon 9 launch that just happened, first time ever seen in RTLS. The launch rumble went on for 2 minutes. The double tap sonic boom from the re-entry was insane. I can only imagine what Starship must be like. That's cool, Leah. So you actually saw it in person and heard it in person from California. That is really cool. But thank you for your support as well, because that was in a super chat. You didn't need to do. You could just mention that in chat, and I'd have brought it up because I'd seen it in the corner of my eye. But that is also. Are they detanking now, Alex? Is that's done for the day then?
Yep, they are detanking now, and they're probably going to be now preparing to remove Ship 38 off the launch mount and get it back to the production site so they can get everything fully ready for flight. And of course, the pad will also probably get, all of those different pieces of hardware that they use to be able to test the ship. They're probably going to be removing that as soon as possible and put this launch mount in flight configuration for the last time, at least in this version of Pad 1.
Are we ruling out a second static fire test with a single engine?
We'll have to watch that closure for tomorrow and see if it goes from possible to scheduled. That's usually a good initial indicator.
Yeah, we'll see.
Very good. Jay is making a suggestion to Jack, and I will take you up on that because I am thinking it's maybe time for me to go off and do some other work that I need to do because I have a busy thing going on with lots of other things going on at the same time. But it's been a privilege talking to you all. Thank you all for your support. I'm going to hand over. We're going to keep going, but Jack is going to take over the reins. Bit of a horse reference there of the stream. So until next time, Jack, take it away.
Oh, but Chris, didn't you see in the back channel? Jay asked, and I said nay.
Oh, nice.
Horse
facts.
So
Actually, a
bad.
chatbot command. Right, I'm going. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for being on, Chris, and holding things down while I did camera stuff during the static fire. Seemed like a good one. Alex, duration, thoughts, question mark?
Yeah, it pretty much seemed like a normal static fire test. I did not see anything weird or wrong or something like that. It really looked like a nominal engine test. But, that's one of the things that I mentioned was that I don't have all the data in front of me. I'm not one of those SpaceX engineers in launch control being like, I have 1,000 different screens and they are all, they all are telling me 1,000 million different things.
Why
They
not,
have,
Alex?
Why not? Graphs and everything. I don't know. I mean, I'm not talented enough. I'm also not from the US, so.
I thought you were just going to go the US route.
No, but I think that the first one is actually worse. Even if I were from the US, I don't think they will get me anywhere close to SpaceX. But yeah, so they could go in now through the data and say, we don't like this. We don't like this little thing in engine 1 or engine 4 or whatever, right? And maybe they do another test at some point in the future. We'll see. But if everything went well, we expect them to now proceed into flight preparations. We'll see.
Fingers crossed. So a couple tiles missing on the aft end. Looks like one right there near the flap hinge. Sort of one right there on the main aft skirt region. That's not even on the tankage. That's on the skirt, right, Alex?
Yeah, that's the skirt. That's where the engines are located. And that's a picture from Caesar, like last week, I think it is. Because I included this one, I remember that one from including that on Starbase Update, releasing later today. And so I was like, I knew he had gotten a picture of that area, so I was trying to look at the feed, at the live feed, and I was like trying to correlate the tiles. I think it is that one tile. Maybe people can correct me in chat. Chat, correct me in there and say no, you're wrong.
It's 2 tiles over, you lummox.
Exactly right. But yeah, I looked. There's like a row of like one tile that looks a little bit off, like white-ish, gray-ish, and then there's like 3 black tiles, then 1 sort of grayish, and then 1 black, 1 gray. So that row, I can see that very perfectly on the live feed. So I took that one as a reference point, and also the fact that where the hold-down clamps and everything are located on the stand down there, to be able to track like which exact tile it was.
Well, that's not too bad. Certainly didn't lose like a whole bunch of them. And like we've been saying, it's a harsher environment to static fire a ship than it is to launch it, at least in theory. So, not that bad. I wouldn't even say that's bad at all. The heat shield on this thing looks so good. I'm once again so glad we got that update from Gerst, talking about the improvements they've made to the ablative layer, the crunch wrap or whatever they call it. Such a good name. It's a good looking ship. Who cares if it's missing a couple tiles after static?
People are saying that we should pan up.
Oh, stop! We're tilting. It's tilt. You tilt up. You pan left or right. Come on, people at this point know it irks me.
I fry my pan. I don't really left or right my pan.
Alex.
What?
It's Jay in the back channel says we're zooming up. Stop it. Stop. You can tilt up. You can
Totally
jib
right.
up. You can boom up. You can even dolly up if you have a nice dolly, I guess. Translating up.
Now count all of those tiles. How many of them are missing? None. But there are still a few more up there. I'm just teasing here. People are
there
watching.
Was a few already missing on the nose cone region.
Yeah.
But
there's also one that has fallen off there.
One of the little baby ones in the the weld seam area.
Yeah, on the forward dome of the ship.
Okay, I shouldn't say this live on air. Those little baby tiles that they use on those weld
baby
seams,
tiles.
They look like, I don't know, they make me think of like a cookie or like an Oreo or something. Like I for whatever reason, I want to eat one of those small heat shield tiles. It's like a forbidden snack. I don't know why. Don't eat the heat shield tiles. It's dangerous. I'm not actually saying to do that. This is a joke.
Jack, don't.
But they
just
look
imagine that I'm looking at you with my finger like, don't.
Is that a drone? Look at that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely a drone. Looks like it's inspecting the nose cone. And then moving further down. It's inspecting the heat shield, maybe. Neat. Yeah, I saw maybe like 5 missing tiles tops at a cursory glance as we tilted up. Not bad at all. Mac and cheese at midnight. Wow, what a name.
What?
They say that's what their name is. They say, do you think SpaceX will launch 2 Starships from the same location in one launch window in the future to double their cadence for things like tanker missions? Yeah, almost certainly. I think that's a future that we're all eagerly waiting for. Thank you for that super chat. Man, we have so many good questions from our viewers today. I have actually taken a screenshot of the question queue and made a folder on my desktop called emergency questions for if we're on a stream and we run out of questions. I have these to ask because we got some really good ones. And unfortunately, the test is seems to be done, right? Like they're detanking, right, Alex?
Yeah, they're actively. I mean, you can see that because there's no frost on the methane tank. The frost on the liquid oxygen tank has decreased substantially. and so we are pretty much. They are actually like very close to ending the detanking here of ship 38 because
Nice.
most
What's
of
gonna
that.
be the indicator of that the launch mount vent starting up again?
I don't know. It's just all visual clues. The fact that the frost there on ship 38, most of it is residual. The one that is thinner, essentially, the one that it's thick frost, and you can sort of see it visually when it is the thick version, the thin version. The thin version is just because because there was liquid oxygen there, the tank is still cold, so it still has frost in there, but it's not completely gone away. It's just thinner. But if there is still liquid oxygen in contact with the wall of the tank, then it is a much thicker frost. And so you can sometimes see that visually, that sometimes the thicker frost has gone away and there's only like a little bit of that thin frost covering the tank. And that's because it's still cold. It takes a while to warm up such a big vehicle, right? We see that even with the boosters. I mean, when they caught booster 12, 14, and 15, they stayed frosty for quite a while, and it happens even for Falcon 9 boosters as well. When they consume all of their liquid oxygen, there's still a little bit more that they use for the re-entry burn and the landing burns, and so when they land, they are still frosty. There are pictures out there of like RTLS landings and everything, and even a few hours after that, they're still frosty outside.
Man, I can't wait till they start catching boosters again and then start catching ships as well. They're gonna look so neat. Speaking of neat, this has been a really awesome day for testing. Hopefully they got the data they need and we can move on to Flight 11 here soon. Hopefully, it feels weird to say, hopefully they don't have to do another static fire, either a single engine or a repeat of the 6 or a spin prime after an engine swap, anything like we've seen on previous vehicles. And if that's the case, it's the end of an era for Pad 1. Really just a launch left, which is kind of wild to think about, especially for those of us who have spent years watching them even build this first pad in the first place. And now it's at the end, or nearing the end of its useful life. Pretty frickin' wild. I'm eager to see Pad 1 torn down and built back up to spec like Pad 2. Pad 2 is so beautiful. I'm eager to see Pad 2 come online. We got a lot of really exciting stuff coming up.
Can I say one thing? Look, I'm gonna leak up a little bit of the work that we're doing. I am at least writing a video about precisely Pad 1 and this sort of turning of the page on the Starship program, right? In this very long book, if you will. And so it goes a little bit into the history, a bit of a going down memory lane and whatnot. And it also is going to be all about the future of this pad of Starship as well, because after Flight 11, we're going to Flight 12. And launches from here. Oh, that was so good, Jay. With Pad 2 there on the right hand side, right? We're also gonna see modifications of Pad 1 so that it can look a lot more like the pad there on the right hand side, the Pad 2 at Starbase, and also hopefully as well we're gonna see ship. Excuse me, not ship 39. I was thinking about ship 39, but I'm also thinking about 39A, the launch pad itself, which has also been progressed through lots of different, work and modifications and whatnot. So I really hope, I'm about to be done with that script. Hopefully we can record that this week. You're gonna be hosting that one, right? I think it's supposed to be you.
Oh my god. Yes.
Yeah.
Send me the script. I'll do it.
Yeah.
I have so many things to record. Hi, Kevin. Hi. I have so many things to record.
We're taking over here. This is a meeting already.
The weekly meeting is in. Oh God, it's in 2 hours. Oh no, I have a lot. Okay.
I have a question.
On that note, hi.
Can I have a question to chat? Because we're talking about history of Pad 1 and everything. I've heard rumors, if you will, that some people don't like history videos. Like, it's just, no, we want to talk about the future and everything. This video has both. So I'm really wondering how many of you guys are sort of like, wanting to see that kind of video of like, bit of, an overview of the past, but also of the future.
I feel like every time we do a video like that, people love it. But just in terms of views, like when it's a standalone video, it doesn't necessarily do well, which pains me because I like history. I love history. It's one of the things I'm a nerd about, along with rockets and planes and nuclear stuff and telecommunicate. Like, I love that stuff. So hopefully people are into it.
And also, people that might have joined recently, maybe with the full stack flights, and they don't know about, you remember Rampy at 39A, right?
Yes.
Like those little things that happened in the past that maybe a lot of people don't know about, and that's really interesting. We'll see.
We shall see. Well, we'll keep our eyes on the road. If any testing spools up again, we'll go live again with a dedicated stream. In the meantime, you can go hang out at Starbase Live and enjoy the many views that we work our hardest to bring y'all. We had Chris B on earlier, hosting the stream. NASASpaceflight Actual, the Burgonator himself, the one, the only, Chris B. Thank you to him for jumping on and for founding NASASpaceflight. Like, I don't know, kind of life-changing for a lot of us. No big deal. Oh, we had Alex on. Dude, Alex, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be here, and hopefully we'll get... Oh man, it's very likely that we're gonna get the launch during the UK meetup, so get ready for that.
Stop it. Stop it. We also had Jay Keegan operating today's stream. Jay, you are a joy and a treasure and a scholar and a gentleman. Thanks for operating the stream, good buddy. Thank you to all you out in viewerland as well. Whether or not you're supporting us monetarily, if you're hitting the like button, if you're... YouTube works.
What?
What? Did Jay just hit the wrong button? What just happened? All right, I guess that's it. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Go watch Starbase Live. I'm Jack Beyer, I guess. End the stream. You can hit the wrong button correctly now. Also, Gage. Gage was out here. Gage was out here handling CP11. We talked about him a minute ago. Thank you, Gage.
And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, planet.
Water towers, fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. It's orange!
R45! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
What is it?
Put that in the big bag, Jingle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
The methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? We don't need any more of these.